I'm Jeremy Liu, and I'm a techie.
Hi, I'm Brantley, and I'm a techie.
Hi, I'm Katrina, and I'm a techie.
Hi, I'm Kim, and I'm a techie.
Hi, I'm Zoe, and I'm a techie.
Hi, I'm Mike, and I'm a techie.
I'm Delonte, and I'm a techie.
Hi, I'm Chewy, and I'm a techie.
I'm Zenith, and I'm a techie.
Hi, I'm Skylar Winfrey, and I'm a techie. Yay!
Join us and become a techie at Purdue University.
Good evening, future techies. My name is Cathy Pullings, and I want to welcome you to U2 Live Broadcasting, focusing on Polytechnic Institute at Purdue University, West Lafayette campus. Tonight we will be talking about academics in Purdue Polytechnic, especially for high school seniors who have been admitted into the major of your college. I am joined by three panelists who will introduce themselves in a minute, but first just a couple of logistics aspects for the broadcast. We will cover a variety of topics about academics in Purdue Polytechnic, but we would also love to hear questions from you. You can submit questions in two ways. First, through the chat function of U2 Live. In order to do this, you must create a Google account. But don't worry, we have to submit any video. You don't have to submit any videos, anything after the broadcast. Once you create your account, you can submit questions in the chat window. We will monitor those questions and respond in the chat when we can, or some of those questions will also be shared with me to discuss our panelists tonight. If we're not able to answer every question, you can send questions via email, techrecruit@purdue.edu. We will respond to those later on. With that being said, we would ask our panelists to introduce ourselves, and we will get to tonight's topics.
Hi, I'm Darcy Allen. I'm an academic advisor in computer and information technology. I've been with the university for a little over a year.
Hi, my name is T.R. Oneal. I'm an academic advisor in computer graphics technology, and I've been at Purdue for over 22 years.
Hi, I'm Tami Lynch, and I'm from the School of Engineering Technology, and I've been at Purdue a little over 23 years.
Okay. We are ready for our first question. Describe a typical plan of study at Purdue, just to give some context of how they work.
I'll take this one. A typical plan of study at Purdue in the Polytechnic is going to be laid out for you very easily in 8 semesters or 4 years. So you'll see what courses you need to take your freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. A lot of the programs in the Polytechnic have an even distribution of major courses with electives that you need to take throughout your academics. So the nice thing about our majors are you blend and take your major courses early, not wait until your junior and senior year. Of course, everyone needs to take required courses that are listed on the plans of study. So if you see a course listed as a subject and number, that is a required class you have to take in order to graduate.
Okay. Anyone else?
I usually tell my students that it's a contract, so we as a school can't change that on you, and you as a student can't change that on us. So we have that set schedule, and as soon as you have completed those classes, then you can be awarded your degree.
Okay. Next question. What does the Polytechnic plan of study look like for each department?
Okay,
So Darcy, you want to go?
I'll start with the Computer and Information Technology Department. The plan of study, as TR mentioned, is spelled out in 8 semesters, and each semester there are required courses, and then there are also major specific courses, and those build upon each other. So there are courses that you will take your freshman year that are prerequisites to sophomore, and then so on into your further years. We have math courses. In Computer and Information Technology, we require Calculus 1 and 2 math courses. We also have English composition and oral composition courses, along with some communications courses, science, and other university core courses, and then your major courses.
Our plan of study in the schools of the School of Engineering Technology, we often will have 3 of our major courses in each and every semester, offset with some classes from the other areas around the university. But once again, we do have, usually in most of our majors, 2 physics courses, a chemistry course, Calculus 1, Calculus 2, statistics, and then just some free electives or other courses around the university.
So probably just to add to that, there is a university core that students are required to complete certain categories, and so we as advisors will work with you to make sure you complete those core classes, and they're very easily placed into the plan of study with the electives that you're required to take, and some of the required classes meet those core requirements as well.
Okay. We have a question from one of our viewers. Nicholas asked, when will I find out if my request to change majors has been accepted?
Wow. Okay, so we are not the admissions office, but that would probably be the place you'd want to get that question answered right away, I would think, because all major changes take place through the admissions office, and so we're not a deciding factor in that choice. If you're switching out of Polytechnic into another major, that could depend upon the space available in that new major that you're wanting to apply to. It could be qualifications that you may or may not have to meet the admissions requirements for that particular major. So there are a lot of factors that go into it, so it's a very holistic approach, but really that is a question that the admissions office really would be a better answer for that.
If I could add something to that, if you're interested, as TR mentioned, in switching majors within your college or department in the Polytechnic, that's an easier conversation, an easier switch with your advisor. For example, I'm in computer and information technology, and some of the students that are admitted into our department decide they want to switch from, say, cybersecurity to networking, network engineering technology, and that's an easier switch than, say, a changing from the Polytechnic and going to another school.
Okay. What type of math courses are required for Polytechnic students in the departments?
So in the School of Engineering Technology, Calculus 1 and Calculus 2 are required for 10 of our 11 majors, I believe. The other one, it just needs to meet that university core or quantitative reasoning course.
I would say in computer graphics we have 8 different majors, and 7 of those majors require a pre-calculus and a Calculus 1 course, and 1 class just requires the Calc 1 class.
And in computer and information technology, we have 4 majors, and they all require Calculus 1 and 2.
Okay. We have another question that came in. This is from Anda. Anda asked, can you double major between 2 different schools, like Polytechnic and Granite School of Management?
I believe that you can. Often that will cause your time at Purdue to be more than the typical 4 years, but it's easily doable depending on which other college you want to attempt that with.
Yeah, as TR mentioned, it's space availability. So, for example, Granite School of Management needs to have space in courses to add another student with a major. So you would want to communicate with the Granite School of Management about that having that option, and you can work with your advisor once you're in whatever Polytechnic department you're in to help navigate that process.
Okay. How do electives and technical selectives work? Tia.
Okay. So on certain plans of study, you'll see electives and selectives. And the way I describe this, and my colleagues can correct me if I'm wrong, but I always look at a selective is when you're choosing courses from a particular list. And an elective is probably a broader range of maybe subject matters and not necessarily courses. So it's a vaster list of courses you can choose from. From my area in computer graphics, we define technical electives as anything from our college and Polytechnic, anything from the School of Engineering, anything from Krannert School of Management, or anything from the School of Science. So every technical elective is going to have a different definition depending upon what major or what department you're in within Polytechnic. I think, did I get all that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. We had another question come in, and the question is, how does this work in conjunction with the Honors College?
I can at least answer for the School of Engineering Technology. We have students who will work with the Honors College, and we have courses that you can take with an honors contract. So you can work with the individual instructor and come up with an honors contract. You usually have to do an extra activity or two. There are also honors courses that we will accept in many of our plans of study, depending on which major you're going into as well.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the same for our department.
Okay. What about minors and then double minors and double major certificates? How easy is it to complete those?
I would say it's very easy to complete that. We have a lot of students in the School of Engineering Technology who will double major either within our own School of Engineering Technology. Also, we have some who are outside of the School of Engineering Technology or even the Polytechnic itself. We have a lot of options for minors and certificates throughout the university. One of our most popular ones, I would say, is the entrepreneurship certificate that for many of the areas in the Polytechnic, I believe, work directly into their plan of study.
Mm-hmm.
And a very big certificate program that the college is very proactive with is the Cornerstone Certificate, which is tied with the School of Liberal Arts. And so getting that Cornerstone Certificate for many majors is an expectation or requirement. For others, it's an option. So depending upon what major you're in, that Liberal Arts Cornerstone Certificate is a possibility very easily. And so you take your minor courses as free electives or technical electives as part of your major. So that way you're sort of cross-listing courses from the minor into your major, so that you're not having to take additional courses, but you're trying to overlap them so you're being efficient with your course selections.
One of the other things that you might want to think about as well is we have, it's called the Degree Plus with the College of Liberal Arts as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so oftentimes you will take the core, or you will take major courses from one of their majors, and you add it into our Polytechnic major, and it allows you to get our own major plus a degree from liberal arts.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. Thank you for reminding all of us. Right.
Sure.
Okay. Have another question. Kevin asked, does Purdue take algebra-based AP physics credits?
So that would usually come in as a Physics 220, as depending on what score you got on that Physics AP exam. And we in the Polytechnic, I know that we accept Physics 220 as our physics requirement, at least for Physics 1 in the School of Engineering Technology.
And I would say computer graphics does as well, and I can easily speak for construction management, and I know they would accept that as well. So as long as you score appropriately on your AP exam, it will come in as credit for Purdue, and then you would be exempt from required to take physics here in our majors.
And applies the same way in computer and information technology as well.
Okay. Keep those questions coming. Two more viewers, Tammy and Haley, are asking about transferring from Polytechnic to the College of Engineering and how that affects their plans of study.
Sure.
I will tell you, as being part of the School of Engineering Technology, we will have students oftentimes wanting to transfer from the Polytechnic into engineering. If that is what you want to attempt to do, talk with your academic advisor when you come for your STAR day, and we will give you the courses that would be able to move you over to the School of Engineering as long as you did really well in those classes. One of the things that we often will tell students is to make sure that you understand what the change of degree objectives requirements are to change from one major to another, and as long as you are talking to your advisor, we will be able to help you get the classes that you would need to do that.
Okay. Thank you for coming.
Great.
Which is good. This is good. This is what we want. Another question is, if I major in CIT, can I minor in something from a different college at Purdue?
Absolutely. So we have 4 majors, as I mentioned, in computer and information technology. We have our first major is what we refer to as the general major. It's computer and information technology major, but we have interdisciplinary selective course requirements. There's 15 credits of interdisciplinary selective credits that are built into that major, and that allows perfectly to add a non-computing minor to the major without adding any additional coursework than your required 120 credits. Other majors like cybersecurity and networking are a little more computing prescribed, so they don't have as much flexibility, but you're still able to add a minor. It may just take a few extra courses than the required 120 credits. But we do encourage our students in CIT to pursue a non-computing minor because it just helps you be more marketable in whatever field you want to go into and what you want to apply your computing knowledge to.
So one of the things that I thought of as Darcy was talking is that she stated you can add in a few other classes. Many of our plans of study are based on 15 credit hours each semester, which is very doable. You can also easily add one additional course in without really overloading yourself very much. So I did want to let students know that that's easy to add in an extra class. It's not that you're going to truly be bogged down by the other excess credits.
Sure. It reminds me as well that Purdue has a great summer course offering. We have lots of students that pursue summer courses, and a lot of courses that are offered in the summer can be offered distance learning, which is online. So if you have some other summer commitments or plans and you still want to be active in your academics and pursue coursework in the summer, check out Think Summer's website at Purdue. There's a lot of great information about our summer courses as well.
Okay. How are most of the major specific courses in your department designed, like your lectures, your labs, your projects?
I would say, I would think in all of the Polytechnic that many of them are based on potentially 2 to 3 lecture hours per week, and then labs for each one of those classes as well, depending on which type of class. And that's usually for a 3 credit hour class is what I would say. So
it depends upon your area. There's the traditional lecture 2 or 3 times a week, as Tami was saying, and then you have a lab once a week. In computer graphics, and I know construction management, we've gone to a very flipped model where your lecture and your lab are essentially in the same room and sort of meshed together. So you may be in class twice a week with the professor and maybe a graduate student along with them. And your lecture would start and it could end in 20 or 50 minutes, but then you can work on your lab project as soon as that's over. So it's more of a what we call the flipped model, where you're not just listening to someone talk at you for 3 hours a week, but maybe it's more of an interactive type of classroom. But that's not to say that the labs aren't that way in the traditional structure, but that's where we in computer graphics have probably changed a little bit and flipped the model so you're actually working and listening to a lecture at the same time.
And in computer information technology, they are structured very much the same, where there's a lecture component and lab component, and sometimes like a recitation or some other sort of time outside of class to work on group projects. A lot of our classes do have group projects, and so you want that extra time, and it's built into your schedule to allow for that time to work on those projects.
Okay. TR, this one's specifically for you, unless you have something else you
No,
want to say.
I was going to say maybe unless you're in aviation technology and you're in the flight program, you're not going to have a lecture in the sky. You're probably just going to have a lab in the sky.
Right, okay.
Okay, I'll
so
take the question now. Sorry.
This next question, how similar are the core classes between UX design and cybersecurity?
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Sorry. I don't know if they're very similar at all.
Not at all, yeah.
User experience is more of a process-based, where it's less computing and more psychological processes behind computing, making sure systems are working the way you want them to. It's client-based, so you're asking lots of questions, you're processing their answers and really getting down to the details of what that person wants. I joke and say it's whiteboards and post-it notes in user experience and less computing. So I would say cybersecurity is probably the exact opposite of that.
It's all computing, and it's all aspects of computing to understanding the machine, understanding networks and databases, and then how to secure it all. So I think it's very
They're
computing
very
heavy.
different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. I think all of you, I know all of you can answer this question because this is a question that a lot of first-year students want to know. How many credits do you recommend taking first semester?
15.
Most of the time it's between 14 and 16 is what we usually say. Some plans of study only have 14 in that first semester, and others will go up to 16. Usually in any given year, you're going to take 30 total credit hours each in that year. Might be 16, might be 14.
Mm-hmm.
What is the senior capstone project, and how does your department have those incorporated in the plan of study?
Okay, I'll start with the computer and information technology. In our 4 majors, we have specific courses that are designed to be the senior capstone project course. So in our general plan of study, we have CNIT 480, which is one of your final classes, and that has the capstone project embedded into it. And then for cybersecurity and networking, they have 2 capstone courses, which would be CNIT 455 and 471. And then in systems analysis and design, they have CNIT 380, as well as 480, which is required by all 4 majors. And in those classes, you do complete your capstone project.
So for computer graphics technology, the 8 majors sort of merge together for a full year capstone project. In the fall semester, they'll take CGT 41101, and that's where you'll sort of pick the project that you're going to be working on based upon the options that are available to you, or you may have one that you're going to bring in as a group. It's group based in terms of teams of 3, 4, or maybe 5, depending upon the depth of the project, and you will have a sponsor for that project, and then you'll have a faculty advisor for that project. So the first semester is sort of thought process, development, question and answer, maybe some research that go along with that, and then starting in the spring semester, you'll take 41201, which will continue that, and that's where you really build that project, whether that's electronically on the web, or you're going to do some animation. That's done in the second semester, and then a group presentation is completed sometime in April, and that's to the public, so faculty, staff, students, family members come in for the day and they watch the hour presentation.
In the School of Engineering Technology, we are very similar to the computer graphics. We have a multidisciplinary, industry-sponsored senior capstone, so oftentimes they will have projects, real-world projects from companies out and about, and it might even be an international project that you're working on with a group of individuals from another country. This year, I believe that we have some from Poland, some from Peru, some from England, some from Germany, some from Switzerland, that they're working with a group of students from there. The students internationally come here to see our process. Our students will then go at the end of the spring semester and go internationally to see their facility, and usually the company's facility there and do a presentation there as well.
Okay. Questions keep coming in, which is great. The next question is, are a BSME and an engineering technology degree considered equal on a resume?
That is a really good question, and I think that for the most part it really depends on which company and industry that you're wanting to go into. We have lots of students who will work side by side, being a BSME and having an engineering technology degree. They'll be working in the same company doing the same jobs. But there are also other companies who specifically want a BSME or want a BS with an MET.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them are Bachelor's of Science degrees. And almost all of our students will go out and become engineers, even with an engineering technology degree.
But would you not also say that it depends upon what the company's looking for to who they want to hire, and then also the learning style of the student on what fits them better?
Yes, that is true. Really, that's the main difference in engineering and engineering technology, is the type of students and the learning style that they have.
TR, this is specifically for you.
Okay.
Good. Wow.
Getting all questions.
Can you talk a little bit about visual effects compositing major?
Wow, you're very specific. I would say the major is in the entertainment industry is what I like to call it as. But anything that you can imagine we're sitting in a very small office space right now, but just imagine us sitting on another planet, or, creatures walking past us, or, once a scene is created, then it's going to go back into the studio, and people are going to be doing editing to that, and so you're going to have to learn the software systems and the skill sets to be able to edit that product to make it as visually enhancing as possible. I'll date this a little bit, but I just got to see How to Train Your Dragon 3 this weekend, and I was sort of told ahead of time to watch out for this, but there are certain scenes in that movie where you forget you're watching animation, and if you can do that in the visual effects area, I think you're going to be very successful.
Okay. And is that also one of the majors that you need to have a portfolio for?
So in computer graphics, part of our sequence of the capstone is to do portfolios for all of your majors, and so you'll create portfolio work throughout your academics, and you'll put those assets into a website that is your website that you've developed and created, so you'll have those assets to show off to potential employers when you graduate.
Okay. Thank you. All right, Joseph asks, please talk about requirements and opportunities for internships, co-op work, or something similar.
So the Polytechnic 2 years ago made a professional requirement as one of the aspects in order to be able to graduate. And so we believe that having real-world work experience is so essential to being a good candidate for any potential permanent job that you're looking at. In many of the areas, I would say those internships and co-ops are readily available. We have multiple sources of being able to find those. We have multiple career fairs, some of them put on directly by the departments in the Polytechnic, others it's the Polytechnic overall, and there are lots of opportunities out there to find them. It's usually easier to find those after your sophomore year, once you've gotten more skills in your given area, but some students will be able to find them after their freshman year as well.
So sometimes in the computer and information technology department, we have students that are interested in either an internship or a co-op, and they don't know which one would be more beneficial or would work better in their 4-year plan of study. And in some of our majors, some of the courses that are required are currently offered fall semester only or spring semester only. And so that can make a co-op a little more challenging because it can be over multiple semesters where you take classes one semester and then you work a semester, and that can kind of throw you off track with courses. So in computer and information technology, we strongly encourage our students to pursue internships, which is a requirement, a professional IT experience. But there are opportunities to build in a co-op depending on what major in computer and information technology you would choose. I don't know if that's helpful, but there's a little difference between internships and co-ops in CIT especially. There are students that want to do professional experiences at multiple different companies, and then we would strongly encourage them to pursue internships over the summer and try a different intern or a different company each summer to see what would be best fit for them. Co-ops are traditionally with one company over the 3 or 5 semesters.
And oftentimes with co-ops, the level of expertise that you're gaining and the level of responsibility increases with each co-op session that you do. And we have 3-session or 5-session co-ops that our students participate in.
Okay. Another question from our viewers. What is the key difference between cybersecurity and computer networking?
Okay.
That would be you.
Those are computer and information technology majors. So cybersecurity and network engineering technology have some similarities. Cybersecurity, of course, is going to focus mainly on security for any component of computing, whereas networking is more known as our infrastructure type of major. And so the differences there are you're learning much more in depth about the infrastructure than in security. It's security embedded throughout all computing processes. But we do have about 5% of our undergraduate student population choose to dual major in both of those, and it does add 18 credit hours to your overall requirements. And so some of our students that do that, as I mentioned earlier, will choose to add a summer course here or there at summertime, or then have an 18 credit hour semester, and that will allow them to get that dual major in 4 years.
Another question from our viewers. Would you suggest taking a foreign language course if you would like to major in cybersecurity and go into law enforcement?
Cybersecurity does require one of the core university core requirements is a humanities foundational requirement, which is can be a language. So taking a foreign language course would fit into your major requirement, and I feel like that would definitely benefit you in the area of cybersecurity and law enforcement. To add a foreign language minor may add additional credit requirements, but just a couple of courses I think would be a great opportunity.
Okay. Let's talk about the senior capstone project. Does your department have these and incorporated into the plan of study?
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, I mentioned the courses that are embedded into all 4 of the majors in CIT, and I know that you guys had talked about in depth about the projects for your senior capstone projects.
So if you are able to look at a plan of study on our website, you can see the samples for any of our majors, and you'll probably see in that senior year, which is semester 7 and 8, you'll probably see a capstone labeled course for all of our majors, and so that's when you'll know that that's embedded into the requirements and it's a part of the course requirements. So it's not something you do in addition to coursework, it is a class that you take.
Yeah, I can say in the School of Engineering Technology, in MET for Mechanical Engineering Technology, it's labeled Capstone Selective 1 and Capstone Selective 2. In most of our other majors, it's actually a course-specific number. So in ECET, it would be ECET 430, 460, MFET 480, 481, and similar in our TLI courses as well.
Okay. What is the professional work or internship experience required from your department?
In computer and information technology, as Tami mentioned, we have a professional IT experience requirement that is a co-curricular requirement. So there's no credits that are tied to that requirement. It's simply an internship of 6-week minimum duration or 240 hours of either IT employment or IT volunteer work. And you do have the full 4 years while you're at Purdue. You just have to have that completed by the end of the 12th week of your last semester in our department.
I would say from historical perspective of construction management, they were sort of the leaders in this idea and concept. So students who are in construction management are required as co-curricular work to have a certain number of hours worked outside of the classroom, and so you pick those up usually in the summertime for the construction management majors. For computer graphics, it's very broad. You can do a traditional co-op work. You can do an internship for the summertime. We've also expanded a little bit that, maybe you have a summer job that's not an internship, so you're working for some company or some business, and we count that as professional experience. And then there are certain majors that I'll just be honest that, like the animation, the game development, and visual effects, there's a lot of industries out there that they just don't have internships that are traditional to students. And so we're sort of creating a different approach to that. So you would do in-classroom experience. So we're going to start inviting companies to come to Purdue to work with our classes, and you may be building assets and creating ideas and designs for a company, and then submitting that back to them at the end of the semester, and that's your professional experience. So it's very broad on what the definition might be, but I think a lot of them are co-curriculars, and it's not a course that you take to meet the requirements for that.
Those are like your Hollywood majors, right?
Right, but I would say for all majors within Polytechnic, it's not a class that you have to take, it's more of just a co-curricular function.
Yes. Okay. Another question, what are some specific examples of the hands-on learning in MET courses?
So in MET courses, hands-on learning, I can give the example. One of our faculty members recently won an award for, he's now in the Book of Great Teachers here at Purdue. He teaches, it's Professor Mark French, and he actually, for his dynamics class, historically has had the students build a catapult or a trebuchet. This past 2 years, he actually has switched that to they build and have to fly a remote controlled glider that they do. So the beginning of the semester, they start working on building their glider. At a certain point, they have to make sure that it will actually fly. And just as a glide, they just throw it and make sure that it flies. And then later on, they have to start learning about the actual remote control aspect and putting that motor on and making sure that it can fly a certain amount of feet in order to be able to do well in that class. They then have to write up the report of what they've done, the range, the speed, the velocity, all of those things that you would expect engineers to understand. And so that's just one simple way of learning in an applied concept.
All right, another question for TR from Connor. I have heard that the visual effects industry is not very stable and that it's hard to land a job. Is this correct?
Wow. I would say what I try to tell students is I think in the traditional sense, yes, I think it's a very competitive field. It's intensive number of hours in a short period of time because you're under deadlines to meet industry requirements to get a product completed. What I challenge students to do, and so do the faculty members, is to try to think outside the box. What is something that's visual effects that maybe not is in the traditional movie or television or commercial or something like that? And can you work with some sort of industry that's not part of entertainment that you can start to create visual effects for someone who's not thinking about it at all? I think we have a lot of areas that need to tap into games and animation that just aren't even there yet. One of my examples I used is one of our senior capstone projects a year ago was with the School of Nursing here on campus. And they created a virtual nursing lab for students, and game students and visual effects and animators were all a part of that. And who would have thought that a gamer for nursing would have been a great tie-in, but the nursing school is just thrilled to have this collaboration going on with us. So I think, yes, traditionally it's a very competitive market, but I think if you start thinking outside the box, and you could probably go a long way and still be very happy and successful with your major.
Okay. Another question from one of our viewers. What are some differences between system analyst and networking engineer?
Okay, those are both computer and information technology majors. So systems analysis and design. Systems analysis and design is kind of what we tell our students is you're the most, I guess your role is more communicative than just being techie computer, in computer industry working on computers. You work a lot with the public. You, as systems analysis and design majors, they all take 3 communications courses as well as a professional writing course to help them have those skills to go out into any field and find out what an IT need is and then bring it back to their IT team and help create that solution. Networking is very much an infrastructure-based major, so you learn a lot about databases and how to network in between those. And so I know network engineering technology is not as customer-based as the systems analysis and design major.
Okay. All right. Back to TR.
So glad I came here.
I know.
Yeah, we're glad you're here.
Right, I'm glad you're here.
Okay.
Another question from one of our viewers. How many credits are needed in programming UX design? Also, how many languages do you learn?
For user experience design, you will learn languages embedded within the user experience courses. So you will learn some HTML5, you'll learn some JavaScripting, you'll learn a little bit of C language that I can think of off the top of my head, but it's not like a specific course that you have to take. The user experience professors will embed that programming and software within the courses that you're teaching at the time that you're taking those classes.
How many credits?
Oh, and how many credits? So for user experience, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're probably going to take about 30 credit hours of user experience coursework specifically, but none of them are clear-cut programming classes. Like I said, it's going to be programming within those 30 hours. Okay.
All right. Next question is for you, Tamara.
All right.
Chief asks, how does a student get an aeronautical engineering tech degree in 3 years?
So that's actually not in the School of Engineering Technology. That would be in our aviation or transportation.
School of Aviation.
School of Aviation and Transportation.
Transportation.
Yes.
And they specifically have it set up so that you can work with that usually you're taking summer classes. From what I've seen in most of the degree in 3 plans of study, it's usually you're taking classes in the summertime and working with your individual advisor to make sure that you are on track taking the correct classes in the correct semesters in order to finish.
All right, viewer, we just put that link up there for you. All right.
There's no way we answered every question.
Right, we need more questions because I've asked all the questions that I could think of, but we haven't listed them. So we need more viewers to respond.
So why don't we, I know that one of the questions that I often will get from students is, we've had lots of questions about that professional experience. No one has talked anything about the global or intercultural requirement, and we do have one of those in the Polytech as well. There are lots of opportunities out there for you to have global or intercultural interactions. I believe that almost all of our areas have potential to do study abroads, to take specific courses, to work on an international capstone team. There are a lot of opportunities out there, and so that's one of the things that if you're interested in potentially doing a short-term study abroad, either 1 week, 2 weeks, summer, a whole semester, a whole year, we have lots of opportunities, And if that's something that you're interested in, I would encourage you to talk to your advisor about those opportunities.
Okay. Is there anything that we have not talked about?
So I think I can just cover just what our roles are at Purdue. So like you may have a guidance counselor at high school, but that's not what we really do. Our roles are specifically to academically advise you. None of us teach a course per se, or we're not professors. So our role is to help you graduate in 4 years. So take the courses at the right time so that you can stay on track. The great thing about the majors within the Polytechnic and probably across campuses is that when you're in your major, you're probably going to have the same academic advisor from freshman to senior year, especially in the Polytechnic. And that sort of creates a relationship between us and you as the student, and it also helps you find somebody that you can be an advocate for you, and we can help answer those weird, crazy questions that you're embarrassed to ask, but we've heard it 50 times and you're going to ask us 51 times. And that's what we want to be. It's sort of a place to go to, a resource that you feel comfortable with. But the great thing about Purdue is that we're going to see you from the first day you start in STAR until the day you walk across the stage to get your diploma, that we're with you the whole way. So I think that's what's great about Purdue and academic advising. So I'll have students who will change their major and leave my majors, and they'll say, well, do I get to keep you? Well, my answer is no, because if you want to go to another major, you're going to pick up a brand new advisor. So just keep that in mind, that that's one of the great things about Purdue is you have the same advisor throughout the 4 years.
Okay, another viewer question. Can you still do internships as an international student?
I just put in today for an internship for an international student, at least in the School of Engineering Technology, because we often will have CPT and OPT students. That's truly based on your visa status at that point in time. For us, we just set it up as a specific 1 credit hour class so that it works with our international students and scholars program to make sure that you're within compliance.
Yeah, that's the same for our department as well.
Okay, another viewer question. At other schools, company sponsors cybersecurity programs and provides internships and job opportunities. Does the same happen in Purdue Polytechnic?
So I know in computer and information technology, we have an industry partners representative that one of our faculty works directly with. They're the point of contact for anyone in industry looking for to offer our students internships or positions. I don't know of any directly sponsored programs. I know that there's just working relationships with lots of industry partners. So there are a lot of opportunities, but there's nothing that's kind of set as a path directly into an opportunity. Does that make sense? Is that clear?
It did.
Okay. Another viewer question. Laura asked, what companies do you work with for the game development and design program?
Okay, I guess that one's for me, right?
Right.
Okay, again, that's right. We try, our faculty members are more connected with industry than what advisors are, and so that's where I was talking about some majors like game studies don't have a great pipeline for internships, so we're trying to create sort of a task bank for courses to work with industry. So I don't know if you'll have a one-on-one direct relationship with a company, but our faculty members will, and that could be your relationship that you have there. We just hired 2 new games faculty members this past year, so they just came from industry, so they have connections. Plus we have alumni that are out there working as well, so we try to network you with them as well for those that are in the game industry. But like again, I said, this is a tough field to find internships in. So we're sort of flipping the model and trying to bring work into the classroom so you can still get that professional experience.
Okay. Multiple viewers are asking questions about job perspectives after they graduate. Let's talk about career fairs and hundreds of companies that come to Purdue.
So the biggest career fair I would say that's offered here on Purdue's campus is Industrial Roundtable, which is offered in September. And so I can't remember the average number of companies that come. It's a massive, massive career fair. I don't think that you could talk to each and every company that's here in the 2 days that the Industrial Roundtable is here. In February, we have our Polytechnic career fair, and we usually have 100, 150 companies that come to that. That's much smaller. You're able to talk to multiple companies during that career fair. And do either one of your two areas have a specific one?
Yeah, we just started a computer and information technology career fair this past September. It was our first one. And it was a huge success. We had, I think, 60 to 70 companies at our first one. And so we're doing it again this upcoming maybe September 12th. I know all career fair information is on the Center for Career Opportunities website for Purdue. That website is a wonderful resource to know about any postgraduate data as well. You can search on the Center for Career Opportunities website and find the placement percentage for each department, common employers that our students are employed with, what common job titles they take, and their starting positions. So there's a lot of great information on that website about all of our departments' graduates.
I would say construction management has 2 career fairs each year, so 1 per semester. I know some of our construction graphics students will pick up that and go to that as well, so that's another opportunity. So there's plenty of experiences for career fairs that are out there. On our website, again, we have average salaries for each of our areas as well, so you can see the placement percentages based upon that too.
Okay, another viewer question. For UX design, do students learn rapid prototyping?
Rapid prototyping. Wow, you know, I have to be honest with you, that is such a specific question. I just don't know the answer to it, so I can't say that I would know that. I would encourage you, though, that you could probably go to our website and you could find Dr. Colin Gray. He is our UX lead faculty member. So Dr. Gray would be a great resource that you could just message him directly and ask him those questions, and he would be more than happy to answer that for you. So Dr. Colin Gray would be a great person to, for the UX question.
Okay. Also, just want to remind, next week there is a YouTube Live just for UX design. Colin Gray will be on the broadcast.
Wow, how do I know? So call back in.
Call back
and
in
you can
next
see
week.
him then.
Yes. Okay. Well, viewers, thank you for tuning in. This wraps up our discussion tonight. I want to thank everyone who joined us from home and submitted their questions while viewing the broadcast, as well as our great panelists. Thank you for discussing Purdue Polytechnic Institute. You will also be able to rewatch this broadcast by following the same link you clicked on to watch it live tonight. And please feel free to reach out to us with any additional questions you may have by sending us an email at techrecruit@purdue.edu. That's TECHRECRUIT@purdue.edu. You can also find all of our broadcasts on our website on the admitted student page. Once again, thank you for joining us all, and have a great night. Boiler up.
Good night.
Good night.